How's it
Hey
going,
Ray,
Johnny?
I had to run and get my headphones.
That's so good. I didn't know what the Wi-Fi situation was like in LA. I got really worried for a second.
That's good.
Anyway, thank you for coming on the Left Brain, Right Brain podcast. Um, I've been a huge fan of your work for a long time. Came across
Thank
you
you.
through Instagram rather than comics,
Uh-huh.
because I was out of comics for a long time and sort of you got me back into reading comics. So thank you for that as
Sorry.
well. Yeah, it's okay. I wanted to start the conversation by talking about punk rock. I see a lot of Gigi Allen in your works. I see a lot of
Uh-huh.
Ramones in your works. I wanted to know where the fascination with punk rock began.
I don't know, probably when I was in college. Um, I was I mean, I don't I was very much into the music. I don't know if I was into the look or the aesthetic, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I I had a particular interest in Gigi Allen. And I think I my interest started just like literally like a couple of months after he died. That's when I
That's
first heard
always how
about
it
him,
goes, isn't it?
and I was just like, wow, this guy's he just like fascinated me.
Did you find that he was fascinating as like, did you enjoy his music in particular, or was it the
I liked the
provocative
music,
nature of,
and I liked uh yeah, I just liked his attitude. I
yeah,
like that. Like I'm always attracted to, and I feel like this has just been the way since I've been since I was a child. It's like there's that initial like fear of like, oh my God, that's horrible. Like
yeah,
that sounds awful. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And then, but I would just like keep sort of like exploring, and I would keep sort of investigating, and then finally I would just start loving it.
Well, a lot of people kind of stop, right? As soon as they get that gut feeling like this is wrong, I shouldn't be
Uh-huh.
there. But your work is so amazing because you just kept going. Like you haven't stopped. Like you would think at this point in 2024, like with everything that happens in the world and all the wars and everything and technology, that we would be
uh,
desensitized to it. But it's actually the opposite, isn't it? Like
I do sort of feel like there's a different experience of viewing something like on video, you know, when you're seeing it in like real life,
yeah,
and when you draw it or you recreate it through art, suddenly it has a completely different meaning. People are trying to figure out, what does this guy mean? Why is he doing this? Why, like, what is he trying to say? Is he making fun of it? Is he, you know, and then that causes some sort of like internal chaos, and people don't know what to do.
yeah.
Um, and I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, it seems like especially because of like, people are being exposed to your works as cartoons. So they have
Uh-huh.
fond memories of seeing it a lot when they were a kid, and maybe the edgiest they got is Ren and Stimpy or something on the weekend. Or
Right.
even now, I don't know what an edgy cartoon for kids would even be at this stage. It's all pretty quite
It's
chill.
yeah, it's all pretty tame now. Like I think they've almost like got it down to a science about removing any anything that might even possibly be uh disturbing.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm not sure if this is correct. I watched two interviews that that you did before this,
Uh,
5 years ago and 11 years ago. But I know you've worked on children's TV shows before. There's
uh-huh.
a Looney Tunes movie that lists you as a writer. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's
That's the
correct.
upcoming one, right? Or I don't
Uh-huh.
think it's come out in Australia yet, has it?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know, I don't know if it's officially come out here yet. I think maybe early next year.
yeah, did you like? Were you like the main writer on that?
Oh no.
Yeah.
With these types of movies, I feel like the main writer is the studio.
Right.
They're the ones who are sort of like the gatekeepers who say like this is okay and this is what we want. Um, you know, you have to highlight these points. In this case, they were very much about, you know, oh, we got to make sure this is about friendship. It's got to be about Porky and Daffy's friendship and
Yeah, yeah,
friendship.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
Wouldn't want to
like
ruin that legacy.
and I when I first got this, I'm one of like 25 people who probably worked on the script.
Yeah.
Um, but when I got it, like it was just like every second, like almost every page, it was just like you have to keep checking in on the friendship, and I was just like, oh man, this is fucking ponderous. just like
I mean,
this is so not Looney Tunes. Like Looney
no,
Tunes would be like fucking with it. Like, and so I tried to like not that I wanted these guys to be enemies, but I just tried to like de-friendshipify the whole thing
yeah,
and try to like incorporate more jokes, like more gags of Daffy being like fucking crazy and Porky being sort of the straight man, and just trying to put in as many jokes as I could, because I would feel like that's what those cartoons are. Like it's just all about setup, punchline, setup, punchline. Just everything is just kind of strung to, like the plot is just like strung together so we
for
can come
sure.
up with so many gags, and that's what I was hoping for. But with children's films in particular, animated films, like we always have to kind of like everything has to be like a therapy session, and like encouraging and kind and
Yeah. It would be
and
great if like parents put as much effort into their kids as you guys do. You know what I mean? Or even just like you're checking in on friendship every, 20 minutes. Like I don't think real friends check in on their friends, that much.
right. So I'm just like let's just I just like make this as crazy as possible. Now, when I say crazy, I don't mean like I want to make this pornographic or
No.
for adults. Like I'm trying to, write just funny general audience jokes for the
Yeah.
film, and try to, cram as much as I can in there. And after I did my pass on it, I'm sure they handed the script over to somebody else who removed half of everything I did,
Really?
uh,
Yeah.
and then the next person after that probably did their version, and
Because
so on.
I watched the trailer, and to your credit, or whoever's credit, to 20 people's credit, it did look a lot looser than most things I've seen. I was kind of shocked.
Well,
Oh, there wasn't gore in it, obviously, but even
right.
the implication of gore with explosions, with like purple slime or whatever, like I was like, okay,
Well, I think like because when I was working on the Looney Tunes show that we did like in 2019, 2020,
yeah,
um, we wanted to stay true to the original cartoons from the 30s and 40s, and but we didn't want it to be like we're doing some kind of nostalgia thing. We kind of wanted to maintain the tone of those early cartoons, but kind of update them
yeah.
for today's audiences. I think we did a fairly good job. I don't know
It looked
if
great from what I saw.
and that's also due to the guy who was running the show, Pete Browngart, who was he's a super funny, amazing animation director, and uh, yeah, he did just a stellar job on these cartoons, and on the movie too.
Yeah. And so you've had one of your works animated, like one of your more mature works animated, right? With Prison Pit. So that's one.
Yeah, that might. I think that's the only adult thing that I've worked on that has been animated, as far as I
And
know.
are there a lot of hurdles to being able to get other works, such as like Fat Cop animated or any of that stuff? Is there a lot of difficulty in making that happen?
Oh yeah. Well, with Prison Pit, that was sort of a special situation because those people came to me. I wasn't shopping it around. In fact,
Right.
I was sort of even thinking like when I was even making Prison Pit, it was just like I'm going to make something that is completely like you won't be able to animate this, you won't be able to make it into a movie. Like this is just what it is. It's not going to be able to be transformed into anything else. And that's how I approached it. So when they asked me to if they, if I was interested in animating it, I was sort of dubious about it. But they were very adamant, like, oh, we can do it. And so I was like, all right, so might as well see how this goes. And so they approached me to do it, and it they put it up online, and I guess people watch it online and stuff, but it didn't really lead to much.
Yeah, yeah. Because that would have taken a fair bit of time, right? Like years.
I don't know. Like I think it took about a year because they just animated the first book. And the thing
Uh,
about the thing about the Prison Pit books are like they have like even though like it's like a 700 plus page graphic novel, it's sort of it moves real fast.
Yeah,
So the first book was like about 20 minutes of animation. Um, and I think that took maybe under a year for them to do.
for sure. Yeah, people always underestimate how long animation takes. Even on our show, we animate some of these segments and it takes
Yeah, animation, like
weeks.
especially if you want it to look good,
Yeah,
it takes
faithful
it
to the
takes
material. Yeah.
it takes a long time.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really interesting style that that book has compared to the other ones. Like there is like a manga influence, right? To
Oh yeah.
the Prison Pit. And I've seen the merch. I just found out about your merch, so I'm about to like buy like three shirts after the show. But
Cool.
it's in like a lot of it's in Japanese too. The
Well,
merch specifically.
yeah, that was specifically for Japanese events. I
Ah,
did a couple art shows with this company Mishka in Japan, and yeah, the first one they had um, some t-shirts made and other stuff, and yeah, same for the second one that we did after. One was pre-COVID, one was post-COVID.
post-COVID. Yeah, in Japan. In which city? In Tokyo?
Both were in Tokyo.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel like the audience over there would be quite different, right? To an American audience.
Well, I sort of always, because we also did like small runs of translated prison pits
Yeah, I've seen those
in
too.
Japanese, and I that was sort of like something I really wanted to do. That was like a goal of mine, is to uh, have this book translated into Japanese and available in Japan. So that was exciting.
It does take on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Because you have the obviously the gestural stuff and the actual, the drawings themselves, which
Mm-hmm.
are universal. And I see a lot of like I see Junji Ito in it as well, in the mountains and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely a really cool like hyper real cartoon thing going on as well.
Lot of Berserk,
Yeah, a lot
um,
of Berserk, excellent series.
and just
Um,
sort of like I liked, I thought Mayura's I was all like just blown away. Like he literally was probably the best monster artist,
yeah, rest in peace.
uh, maybe of all time. Like there was just something about his monsters that were so creepy. Like they always had this blank stare on their face.
Yeah.
And you knew first they were gonna like fuck you and then they're gonna eat you.
Yeah. I remember I only read, I think the first two, like, Berserk books, and they
Yeah.
emotionally scarred me.
Yeah,
Very
like
much so.
I think there's like 40 books or
Yeah.
something, but it sort of peters out. It becomes a little bit softer as like more as it takes on more characters. But yeah, that maybe like the first, I don't know, 15 or 20 books. It's just like, wow, this is just fantastic.
So you were always drawing, like, comics since you were, like, young, but were you
Yeah.
always drawing that kind of, like, manga style that kind of evolved
Oh
into
no,
that
like
bit?
the that was a very like that was a choice, because it was just like prior to Prison Pit, I was doing humor comics. I was doing Angry Youth comics. I was doing Blackie Yuccarella. Everything was like everything was comedy.
Yeah.
And so there was just a point where I was reading manga. I was checking out more. I was reading, Kira and Berserk and some other, like you mentioned, Junji Ito and some other horror artists. And I was like feeling like this is something I want to do, but if I want to do it, I got to do it. I can't draw I can't draw it in the way that I can't approach it in the way that I was
For
usually
sure,
with the
yeah.
humor comics. I had to take a completely, I just like completely changed my, style as much as I could. I changed the sort of pen that I was using. I changed my whole approach to working. With Prison Pit, I was very kind of like deliberately pacing it out fairly slowly, where and it was like very atmospheric. Whereas with
Yeah.
Angry with Comics, everything was like so fast, like it's jokes every panel. So it was like a very conscious decision to change
Yeah.
directions.
Out of curiosity, what pen were you using? A brush pen? Were you using ink? What were you
For
using?
which, for Angry with Comics, I
Uh,
was, I mean, definitely towards the end, I had trained myself to ink with a brush. Um, and then once I started doing Prison Pit, then I just would buy pens and I would do like a real scratchy pen style.
Cool. Because I always use the I don't know what they're called. I can never find them. They're in a place called Officeworks. I don't think you guys have Officeworks over there. It's like the giant warehouse. You can buy heaps of pens. It's like it's not really
Uh-huh.
an art shop. It's like a whatever. I just quit my job there recently.
Uh-huh.
So shout out to that. But there's this one specific pen that I use, which is
Uh-huh.
called I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a pen brush, and I can't seem to draw with anything else, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Now I use uh because when I was doing Angry with Comics, it was actually like a dip brush. Like I
Oh,
had
an actual, yeah, wow.
like a little plate of ink and I dip the brush in and I do the whole thing. And then with Prison Pit, I think I was like just using like micron
Cool. Yeah,
pens.
microns are
I
great.
just buy a bunch of micron pens and just go through them. And then now I primarily use like a Japanese brush pen. I think it's called like Kuroneko or Kurateko or something.
Cool. And did you find that transition? Because I do find that transition in style to be quite extreme as well. Like, did you find that it came easily, or did you have to kind of refine
It
your
took me a
skill?
while to, I
Yeah.
mean, even when I was working on Angry Comics, like there was definitely a learning curve. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I just knew I wanted to do it. So like I felt like all through that I was kind of learning how to make comics as I was going.
For
And
sure.
I still feel like, I never feel 100% confident in what I'm doing.
That's
I'm
so
just like
crazy. It's like an outsider to
I
see
just
that. Like,
I just feel like I have to do it and maybe someday I'll figure it out.
well, imposter syndrome is so real, right? It's such a real thing.
I mean, I don't know if I feel like I'm an imposter. Because I feel like this is what I should be doing. I just feel like I have to get like there's this like I feel like I can get better. Like I still need to get
Of
better.
course, of course. You always want to improve. You never want to stagnate. I was listening
Right.
to a Patty Smith thing recently, and she was saying like that you don't break through once, you break through
Uh-huh.
millions of times, and I guess that's the same thing, constantly
Absolutely.
evolving.
And after you break on through the other side, then you break on through to the other side, and the other side, and the other side. And our point is that you spend your whole life keep breaking on through. You can't just break on through once and think, well, I've made it, I broke through. There's a million membranes to break through.
I think
Yeah,
if you don't approach art like that, then you're gonna wind up being boring.
yeah. It would be awesome to see you go through like a Zen, Alan Moore type transformation, or like moving to Japan and just
Right.
like becoming like a Japanese artist like full time. That would be so cool.
Yeah, if I could afford it, I would do it.
It is expensive over there. Food's cheap, but everything else is really fucking expensive.
Well, the convenience stores over there, like
Incredible.
just incredible.
Incredible.
Their convenience store technology is just, yeah,
You can have
off the
anything you
chart.
want there. You can
Yeah.
literally have anything you want. Any type of dessert. The sushi, if you eat too much of it, it does food poison you pretty quickly though. The
Okay.
7-Eleven sushi over there. And I had food poison today actually, but not from the sushi, from something called Shin Black Ramen, where I was advised by my South Korean friend not to eat it, but it's
Okay.
really bad. My face is quite pale today. I'm usually more
Wow.
tan. I wanted to ask you about a specific term, and obviously, I want to ask you because I just found the shadow band pin
Uh,
on your website, which I'm also going to buy with a t-shirt. Anyone listening in the future should buy one of these too. That word, shadow banning, that's a because I was looking at, say, like an interview you did when you were drawing on the show, what, pen and pencil, tongue and pencil, like, and that was
I
like
don't know.
it was like
Was that it with
2018.
Chris Pronowski?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And back then, it was interesting because that was like about 5 or 6 years ago, and Instagram's changed a lot since then.
Right.
and you're, you heavily do use Instagram. It's how I found you as well. That particular word, does it affect you in your position as an artist at this stage? Because you already were an
Affect me
established
in what
artist.
way?
So, say you're trying to put out your work uncensored in any way. Does Instagram affect you with shadow banning?
I mean, you know, the account that I had prior to the one I have now, um, I lost because
Really?
of like, and I had like almost 100,000 followers,
Really?
and yeah, yeah,
What?
and they kept by they I mean Instagram
Yeah.
kept taking my stuff down. Like they kept giving me warnings and taking things down and take and I would try to figure out like workarounds. And the thing is too is that Instagram, they just kind of make up the rules as they go. So even if it's something that might, it doesn't actually have any nudity in it or anything that you can actually put your finger on and say like that's not allowed, they'll take it down. Um and so when I got my new account, because they took down my old account and I had to get a new one and start from scratch. And it's I feel like it's more difficult now for me to get art and keep art on the Instagram platform,
Yeah.
because there'll be things that like I posted a year or two ago, and they'll take them down today. They'll just notice it,
So crazy.
or,
That's so
or they'll
crazy.
think there's things that they'll take down like immediately. Like it's like I don't even know how they do it so fast. Like it's
Yeah.
like they have some sort of like algorithm that they know that there's like some penis like shape hidden in the drawing that they have.
Penis algorithm. Yeah, they definitely must have that, right? Like got facial
So,
recognition
but
technology.
also, I mean, maybe I'm on some kind of like list of like, oh, you gotta watch this guy.
Instagram's most wanted.
But they also like if you do post that kind of stuff, they do make it difficult for people to see your stuff.
Sure.
So like even if somebody's following you, they're probably not going to see you popping up in their feed as much as other things, or maybe not at all. I believe that that is something that they do.
It does happen. It's happened to me as well. I obviously don't have as many followers as you, but on my art account, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean 2 years ago, I would get from
Right.
300 to 700
The
likes.
olden
The
days.
the golden years of Instagram. And I would
Uh-huh.
get a lot of attention. And art is such a reciprocal thing. You do feel good, like obviously money's great and being able to survive is great, but being able to just feel the love from your community is like one of the reasons that at least I make art or create. And I have noticed that my account now reaches probably a tenth of that ever since I took a break, and I've never
Right.
drawn a penis on my Instagram in my life,
Right.
but maybe I should, because at the end of the
So
day, it's the same
I
result.
I do feel, because I make a living, making comics and art. So I do feel like it's had an impact on that. Um, but I I try not to, like, I don't post as much stuff. I used to post quite frequently, and it was um, kind of fun pushing people's buttons and getting the reaction. But now it's like so difficult to uh, keep something up that it's just not fun
It's
anymore.
so demoralizing to lose your work in any way, whether it's like a corrupted hard drive and you have all your work on it, or like an online platform, where they can just
Right.
say, "Oh, no," like they're the police basically, and it's like you just don't have any
But I feel
say.
like that's also, it has a negative effect on creativity in general, because I feel
Sure.
like everybody is making art that can be seen on this platform, and if the platform is okay with it, then that's the art we're allowed to see. So, and then it creates sort of a cop in your own brain where you're just kind of like,
For
well,
sure.
I don't
For
want to
sure.
make any art that might be considered transgressive or dangerous or upsetting, because it's not going to be able to stay online. Nobody's going to see it. So why am I even going to waste my time? So I feel like it's had an enormous negative effect on art.
course. I mean, and younger generations, people who haven't been able to establish their style yet. And now they're going into art with all these rules basically of what you can't do, which is
And never mind
crazy.
like all the other aspects of it of like, oh, if I draw this thing that I'm thinking of, well, I'm going to get canceled, or I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to get that job that I want. I'm not going to like my friends are going to stop talking to me. Like I'm not going to be
Yeah, that
allowed in
aspect too is like if
society.
I draw something, I'm gonna lose things in my real life, right?
Right. Like
Which is
all
crazy.
opportunities going to be washed away. All like I'm just going to be basically like techno banished from the world.
Yeah,
And that also is how that's terrible.
it's horrible.
Like
It's
how
horrific. It's the
like
worst thing ever.
and it's so strange. Like I'm an older person now, I guess, and having experienced a world where you like that was like almost considered a positive thing of like you're making
Yeah,
crazy, transgressive, weird, wild
pushing
art,
boundaries.
pushing boundaries. It used to be called punk rock. Now it's called like being an edge lord, and people are sort of shamed
Yeah.
for doing that type of stuff. And I I feel like it's had an enormous negative impact on quality.
Yeah. I think if you limit yourself in any way prior to going into art, if you don't have a clear kind of open mind, then you've already done yourself a disservice. And it's going to be scary to see like what happens. Obviously, I play in a punk rock band too, like an art punk band in Melbourne.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like I'm not really edgy in the sense of like trying to provoke people in a particular way. Like provoking isn't really necessarily the response. But even talking about any sort of social issue here becomes quite difficult. And a lot of bands cater to just being more like background, like elevator music or something like that, than just like trying to get in your face and say anything in particular. And it's not because they're not interesting people. It's because I think they've seen the end result. Like I've struggled a lot with music
Uh-huh.
getting played purely because of that too. So it
Right.
affects all aspects of the creative field. And Instagram's just one really big place because Instagram's now like the place, right, for art. I don't know
Right.
if there's a place
Well,
that's
it's yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's no, it's basically monopolized
yep.
the landscape. So there's like, where else can you go to get your stuff out there? I mean, I guess it's just up to, old-fashioned printing, just
Yeah, because
printing
I
it,
mean we
printing your
have
own books, making your own books, comics, and getting them out there as best you can.
and having a loyal fan base, right? Which is hard to do now when everyone's attention is fucking
Well, that's
everywhere.
something like that's a good thing if you have it, but you can't rely on it.
No, you
You
can't
you
rely
can't
on it.
rely on anything. The only thing you can really rely on is your own ability to follow your instincts and and execute your ideas to the best of your ability.
Yeah. And talking about instincts, I heard, I don't know, at this point it all blends together, the Johnny Ryan, like, backstory. I've heard that you said that when you're drawing something and it's quite engaging and it's quite not like maybe provocative or you feel like, oh shit, this is going somewhere that, could offend people and you have a feeling that that's like that this piece is going to work. If is that correct? That kind
I
of
mean, that
general
can
gut
be part
feeling?
of it. Like
Yeah.
when I come up with an idea that I feel like, because that's the thing too, is sort of like it's a kind of a combination of like, okay, this is a dangerous idea, but I also have like a funny way or an interesting way of expressing the idea. Um, that that's like when things are coming together, and it does create a
And so
a good feeling.
And then, so in order to keep that fresh, it's about a new way to kind of explore that taboo or that kind of subject matter, right? That's what
Right. And
keeps it
I feel like
engaging.
that's something that sort of like puts the artist above, the that sort of edge, I hate that fucking word, but like
It's a
that sort
bad
of
fucking word, man.
but that term edge lord, like it's because like with the rise of the internet, and then suddenly like everybody online is like saying nasty shit and pushing people's buttons and trolling and trying to upset people. And there's but like suddenly like those people that do that and what I do are all kind of lumped together
For
as like
sure.
we're all part of the same group. And you know I don't feel like that's the case, because there's people who are just out there, just there's more thought put into, I feel like, what I'm
For
trying to do,
sure.
as opposed to just somebody casually like shooting uh some offensive tweet at somebody,
Well, that's
like a
destructive, and what
celebrity.
you're doing is creative and constructive, and as weird as it sounds, you're coming from a place of love, man.
If you say so.
I'm not the
I mean,
authority.
there is something there can be something destructive to what I do too, but at least like I feel like I don't know.
You're drawing it,
I
like
have I feel like I have the right mindset to execute it.
for sure.
Like
And
I'm like a that's like sort of like all these people jump into the swimming pool, and like some people are expert swimmers and some people aren't, but we're just sort of considered like, oh, we're all the same.
yeah. I've never really made that distinction before because sticking to mediums and kind of like that, I've never thought of even comparing like someone who's just like abusive on Twitter or some shit like that versus somebody who's creating content, that can be quite intense.
Like I
But
think
it's a huge
I
difference.
don't know if you know Mike Diana, um the American comic artist that was uh put in jail
Really?
for his work.
A one-time suspect in the Gainesville murders faces obscenity charges. Michael Diana.
Michael Diana. Diana publishes a magazine called Boiled Angel.
A comic book filled with sadism.
And he's sort of a good example of like, he would do comics that were just like crazy, like putting babies in a blender
Yeah.
and like, cannibalism and, rape and all sorts of fucked up stuff. But he was also like a very good storyteller. He was like, he had a very sort of like naive style too, but he was like, like whatever he was doing, he was very good at it. And then when you would see all these people kind of coming in trying to do what he did, it wasn't as good. So then you sort of notice like, oh, there must be something. You have to have like, there has to be something
Yeah.
that puts this guy above, or even like, like the wave of sort of autobio comics um, through the 90s
Like
and
Harvey
beyond.
Pekar and like all
Right.
that
So
stuff.
like you have people who are really good at it, like, Robert Crumb and Joe Matt.
Yeah.
And then, but then like that sort of like brought in this wave of all these other people who were doing it who weren't good at it and didn't, just didn't really understand why are these guys good at it
Yeah.
and I'm not good at it. Uh, there's there's a difference,
For
and whatever
sure.
that difference is, I don't know, but this guy does it better than that guy.
Whether you're born with it, it is a hard one, obviously, because I believe
It's just
everyone.
some sort of talent, like,
It's a thing,
some sort
yeah,
of innate talent that all these people have for this particular thing, and I feel like I have it.
for sure. A particular sensibility to crudeness, I guess. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
There's something like
totally.
that. Um, Also, I wanted to discuss. I've been seeing you post about another podcast that you were on talking about. You were talking about Giallo movies, right? I saw you talk about Lucio Fulci as well
Oh, that
last
was
time.
with Rob Jabaz,
Yeah,
the
I was just
director of
wondering, like,
the Sadness.
what like Giallo or Grindhouse movies would have influenced your work specifically, if there's any.
Oh, yeah, you really put me on the spot.
You got Google.
um, the Google of my brain.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. Dario Argento is
is
sort of
incredible.
is up
Incredible.
there with Suspiria and opera and um, you know, and Fulci, of course, um, Umberto Lenzi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
all
Bird
great.
with the Crystal Plumage and Deep Red are incredible
Deep
movies.
Red, Tenebrae. Uh, yeah.
And also linking that to what we were saying before, there was a particular sensibility to Giallo movies. Firstly, they were all set in art related scenes, right? But they were
Uh-huh.
also art movies. So it wasn't just gore fest for the sake of gore fest. They had that sensibility. They had that undercurrent of something more to them,
Well, there was
which
approach to the gore as if it was like this is aesthetically
there was a beauty to
beautiful.
it, right? The rich colors, the way it was shot.
Yeah, so maybe death is can be beautiful.
Death is beautiful.
Maybe a horrible death can be beautiful.
If it's horrible enough. Because I saw you post about Fulci and I've only seen Zombie, so I haven't seen any
Oh,
of the other ones. But I
the
watched.
Beyond. He's not as much of a artist, I feel like, as Argento, but he does have a voice that is very interesting. He's very angry, and he's very sincere with
Yeah,
what he's doing. But the Beyond and House by the Cemetery and
yeah,
in that podcast you mentioned, we just talked about The Devil's Honey. They're all very. There's always something going on in his films that you're just like, wow, that was like a great image, or that's a great
yeah.
idea. And maybe he doesn't have the same like artistic eye that say Argento had, but it's still interesting.
I was watching the trailer like immediately after you posted it. You just re
Uh-huh.
reminded me that he existed. I was like, oh fuck. And I watched the trailer for I think the first of the Gates of Hell trilogy.
Oh, Gates of the Hell. That's might be
There's
one of
a
my
scene
favorites.
with the
It's so
drill,
good.
with the drill. It's just in the
Oh yeah.
trailer because that's all I saw, and the drill just goes straight in. There's no cut. And
Uh-huh.
even to this day, since yesterday, I've just been thinking about it, and I can't understand how that was made, like at all. But I haven't seen the full movie, so maybe there's that element to it as
Oh,
well.
it's great. It's just like it's one of I just have fond memories of being a kid in school and somebody coming to school and saying like I just saw this movie and describing the details of the movie, and I was just like, what the fuck, that sounds completely like, why would how could like that doesn't sound like a movie, like how did
Yeah.
somebody make that, like it just sounded like an insane person made it.
Do you remember the first most fucked up movie you've ever seen? Like, do you remember the one that was like, oh fuck, like Jesus Christ? Because I do.
uh um Might be The Howling,
Oh
like
yeah,
because I
that
remember like I was totally like I don't know how old I was, but man, that movie scared the
yeah.
fuck out of me.
For me, I was 12 and I watched The Clockwork Orange.
Oh
And the
no.
scene with the statue where it goes freeze frame and the
Uh,
color inverts to like sepia or whatever, like that was horrific. And then also Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just the dancing,
right.
just
Yeah,
dancing
yeah.
in that costume. It's the little things, because it wasn't really the
Uh,
gore, it was just the way he was moving. And then Wizard of Gore, if you've ever seen
oh yeah,
that.
yeah. Yes, I have.
Horrific, fucked up movie. One of the craziest things. Like to this day, I think probably one of the most intense movies. Because like I think a lot of those movies came from like you had Giallo, and then it kind of went over to New York, and you had I can't remember the name of the director of The Driller Killer. If you ever saw that.
Abel Ferrara.
Yeah, and then you had him kind of he started
That's a
off that way, and then he kind of
great movie.
delved up. Incredible movie. Uh, Gangs of was it King of New York as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I do wonder if there was like a cross-play at that point between those kind of movies and the comics that were happening. But my history of comics in the 70s is not fantastic. I'm not sure
Yeah,
who
mine
the
either.
pioneers. Yeah. Do you remember sort of, I guess, like the first time that you realized that you were able to make your art as like a career, where you were like, fuck it, like this is gonna be my full-time job?
um, well, yeah, I mean, kind of like it was like something that I was just kind of, I had just gotten out of college, and it was just this thing, or maybe even a little bit before I graduated, where I was just it was this thing that I would do for friends, where I would just like draw, instead of writing them a letter, I would just draw a comic of some sort, usually like starring them and
Yeah, cool.
something awful happening to them or something. And I would just like do that to individual friends, and then the friends just were kind of encouraging, like, you're really good at this. You should try to like maybe do something with it. And so I yeah, I decided like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So that was probably when I was like 22 or 23.
Cool. And so, were you studying you studied art and writing, right? And literature.
Well, mostly, yeah, I was an English major, but I did take some art classes, but they didn't. I don't think they had any effect on me at all. Like I was drawing really shitty from from the get go. Like there's
Yeah.
something about comics. It's just kind of like you just have to do it, like to figure it out.
Are comics like are they? I don't want to use the word frowned upon, but is there a certain status kind of thing going on with the fine art world that you've felt? Like, are
I mean, it's
they?
not something that bothers me. Like
No.
I just, I know I'm in my lane and those people are in their lane. I don't,
Yeah.
same thing. Like, it would be the same thing if like a fine art person started to do comics. I would just look at it and be like, well, that's bullshit. Fuck
You
that
reckon?
shit. Like I could tell, like this person's just like, this, like I could look at it and be like, oh, this person probably just wants to be a painter. Their comics,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like,
That's so
like there's
interesting.
no ability to write a story. There's no, like, you just can tell when, or same thing with like with people who do animation. Like you can sort of tell when, you read a book, you read a comic, and you're just kind of look at it and be like, I think this person does animation mostly, like the style, the way they
You can
approach it.
tell when the style takes over to that point where it's like, oh, well, what is the story? Like, I saw The Boy and the Heron the other day. I forced like
Right.
five people to watch it. I'm not a Studio Ghibli guy,
Uh-huh.
but I watched that movie, and at first I was like, holy shit, they're doing things with fire. Like my keyboard player was like, they're doing shit with fire that I've never seen. I was like, this is incredible. And then by the end of it, I was like, what the fuck was the narrative here? Like what, you know what I mean? Because Spirited Away has a really like awesome
Right.
kind of vibe, and the characters are wholesome. There was like nothing. I don't know. Maybe it was my interpretation. I watched it pretty late at night,
Right.
after a few drinks, but it was just garbage. I'm like, this is like an animated team that's incredible, and they're doing incredible shit. I wish they honed it to something a little bit more, succinct that I could kind of
Right.
latch onto.
No, I
Um,
can totally see that.
there is a, I guess narrative tends to kind of get overlooked, right, with comics because you just have all these visuals going everywhere. You go, but no, there's a story behind each and every one of
It,
these that
it
you've caught
can,
on.
and going back to the point about autobio stuff is like with sort of Robert Crumb and Joe Matt, like both artists dealing with autobio work, and they're approaching autobio work as if this is a story. Like
Yeah.
this is I just happen to be the character in the story, and this is my little adventure that I'm having, and I'm going to, and this character has to get over here, and then this happens, and so there's still an attention to the narrative. But there just came this when that sort of wave of autobio stuff started happening. There was this idea that just like, well, I'm just going to talk about this, like whatever happens to me, and it just became like this sort of regurgitation of like, oh, I went to the store and then I bought gum and then I tripped over a log and
You're
then I
right.
hurt my
Yeah.
knee and then I had, and it's just like rambling. It was just like literally like being stuck in a conversation with somebody who was just like rambling about their boring life,
That's the
or
thing,
just or
right?
somebody like recounting their dreams. It's just like it's just not interesting. And but I feel like all these people felt like, well, because this is true, it's interesting. Just because something's true doesn't make it interesting.
Well, that's the danger again with going back to like really, really, really good, not good, but like good animators rather, because you can tell a story where you go to the shop, you buy gum, you trip, and you scrape your knee. And you can
Right.
tell that in like a cinematic, incredible, lush kind of way. But you're right, like unless you're into that kind of narrative. But I think you and I
you
aren't really,
you
yeah,
have you have to think of what you're doing, like, okay, this is about me, but it has to be a story. Like there
yeah.
has to be a point to the story. It has to go somewhere. Otherwise it's just like you're wasting my time and you're wasting your time.
And time is the most valuable resource, right? Like people get
Exactly.
offended when
I
they
don't
watch
have
a medium and like it takes their time, it sucks their essence, and they're like, "This movie sucked. Why was I there for 3 hours?"
but also like just the knowledge, just to put it out there, like your life probably isn't very interesting. So I in my opinion, it's better just to make shit up. Like I don't think my life is interesting at all. That's why I don't do autobiocomics.
Do you think that people who have less kind of crazy lives make crazier work?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's all about the work is the work. Like it's all about the work. Like,
Yeah.
are you able to execute the work? Can you draw? Can you write? Like those are things that are only developed through practice. It's just, I mean, it'd be the same question as if you were, you know, a musician and saying like, oh, if you're crazy, you can then therefore play the guitar better than anybody.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No, it's definitely not the case because you have to actually do it, right? If you're too
Right.
crazy, you can't even pick up the guitar.
And
So,
it's the same with comics. Like it's like if you do it consistently every day for years and years, then maybe someday you'll get good at it.
do you find that like if you're spending a lot of time dealing with all these kind of like wilder themes, do you have any like rituals, like studio rituals where you relax and like, are you relaxed anyway? Like,
I'm pretty like a 9 to 5 guy. You know, I get up and usually my schedule is like, you know, start, you know, eat breakfast and start working, you know.
yeah,
And then I quit around like 5 or 6, whatever, you know. It it varies day to day with what I have to do, but usually I'm working, you know, a regular day shift. And
for
that's how I
sure.
approach it. I approach it like this is my job. I have to do it. This isn't just some kind of like hobby bullshit where I'm just
Yeah,
like I'll
yeah,
do it when I feel like it, or I need to. And that's the other thing too, is like whether you're in the mood or you're not in the mood, if you want to make this your life's work, if you want to make a living at it, you can't just fuck around and wait for the, you know, the muses
no,
to
they
come
don't come
down
like
and
that. They
touch
don't
you.
come
And
like that.
it's just like you got to fucking work even though you fucking do not want to work.
For sure. It's the same with like I found it's the same with going to the gym. Like I don't want to go to the gym, but I have to go to the gym or else I'm not gonna
Exactly.
get in shape.
That's exactly, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you even like if you want to get something fucking done, you got to
You have
do
to
it.
do
And
it.
if you're gonna wait around for God to touch you and the spirit to enter your body in order to get you to
Yeah.
do it, then it's never going to happen. And you're never going to improve. You're never going to get better. You're never going to hone your skill. You got to do it every day.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to kind of remind oneself. I definitely was doing, art every single day basically during COVID. And by
Mhm.
the end of COVID, because we had a lockdown that was extremely long here. I don't know if you heard about the Melbourne lockdowns, but it was fucked. It was
A little
basically
bit.
it was like 2 years of prison that we went through. 2 years of
Jesus.
prison. I would go and I'd play fucking tennis with my friend. I felt like I was in jail. I would just play tennis in his like backyard. And then I just draw every day, and every day I would draw no matter what. And by the end of it, there was such a instability with a social life that didn't exist, and this art
Right.
career that was always happening. That I burnt out basically. But I'm trying to retrain myself now to be like,
Right.
well, you can go out and have fun with some friends and draw. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be one or the other. But yeah, I'm really fascinated. I can't stop looking at the but to your right, what is that on the back there on the right?
What do you look at? I don't know what you're looking at.
So there's like a little it looks like a little kid or like Kim
Oh,
Jong-un on the
oh,
frame.
on the frame?
Yeah. That
Oh,
one right.
that's
Who's the one on the right?
oh, that's Joe Cobb. He was one of the little rascals.
Oh, right. Is that a drawing of him or is it a
No, this is
photo?
a photo. He signed it.
He signed it. Is
He's
he
dead
still
now, but
alive?
no, he died several
Oh,
years ago. But he
that's
was like one of the
crazy.
last little rascals left
Are you a
alive.
big Little Rascals fan?
Uh, well, I liked him a lot. Yeah, I don't know if I consider myself like a, you know, some kind of expert
No, you
geek.
wouldn't get that picture and put it on your wall or anything like that.
No, not me.
I also wanted to ask you, I guess I'm trying to think of like, do you know much like do you I guess ingest much like Aussie media like over there? Like what gets over there?
Uh,
What do you know about Australia?
Nothing.
Most people fucking
I
don't.
don't know, like Finding Nemo, I guess. What
That's
else?
pretty good. That was all right. I didn't really like it, but that's a
uh,
pretty good movie.
Crocodile Hunter. What
Good Hunter,
else?
yeah. Because I'm trying to think
Uh,
if we've ever had like a
Road
comic.
Warrior.
Yeah, right. Well, Mad Max and all that shit. That's like the big one, right? But they don't even film that in Australia anymore. like the other ones, like the new
but I mean,
ones.
they're not as good, so it
No,
doesn't matter.
Mad Max 2, right? The best Mad
Of
Max,
course.
of course. I was yeah, because I'm trying to think of Australian comic writers, but I without like Googling it or anything, and I'm not going to Google it. I genuinely can't think of anything except for there's this one guy. I can't remember if his name was like Panther or something like that, but he was just like a dude in like a one suit that was like all purple.
The Phantom is real.
Isn't that crazy? Like, do we not have? No, we definitely have Australian comics because when I go to like a bookshop, you can see all the
Okay.
Australian ones. But there's no like, I don't know, there's no like Robert Crumbs, you know what I mean, or any of that.
Right.
I think it's
Huh.
weird. Yeah, because
There's definitely certain countries that have like a comics tradition, and then there's those that kind of don't.
Australia doesn't. When I was in America, they did, obviously.
Right.
When I was in Canada, every public library I'd go to would have zines with comics everywhere.
Right.
It was so cool just to be able to be there and just read about some person's life, you know what I mean, in comic form. It was a part of their culture. In Japan,
Of
obviously,
course.
the
Right.
entire culture is dominated by comics to the point where it's easier just to draw somebody than to put them in a commercial. So you generally see comics and manga everywhere.
Right.
But in Australia, the only place that, like I was like almost like an outcast for going to like the library and reading the comic section. And we have a really good one near here called the Docklands Library. And I found out about all sorts of people, especially through Fantagraphics. You know what I mean? There was so many Fantagraphics books there. But I guess that was because the library owner was hip to that as an art form, you know, as a medium.
Well, I mean, the comics being sort of uh, regarded here in any like in a positive fashion is a fairly new thing. Like that's not the way it was when I was a kid. If somebody saw you reading a comic, or they found out that you read comics at school, you would really, uh, you know, you'd probably be the butt of lots of jokes.
Yeah.
You'd be accused of being gay. Like it was not looked highly upon. If you went into school wearing like a Spider-Man t-shirt or like any kind of comic or science fiction bullshit, man, you would just be ridiculed.
Well, even now,
Um,
like if you go into, you know, if you wear like if you like Marvel, right? Even from a
right.
movie perspective, cinephiles will talk shit to you, right? Like they'll
But I
be
mean,
like,
like, if you're a kid going to school with a Marvel, going to high school with a Marvel shirt
"Oh
on,
yeah,
that's
of
just like
course."
that's just the standard, outfit.
Now
I
it
mean,
is, yeah.
I'm sure if you
It's
went
the
to
uniform,
the
basically.
sure if you went to the Cannes Film Festival wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt, the reaction might be different. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overall, like, yeah, the you walk around Los Angeles and you'll see Marvel and DC t-shirts and all sorts of bumper stickers and shit everywhere.
But have like underground comics, like would you go around and see somebody in LA in like a Harvey Picard t-shirt
Oh
or like
no. Like just the other day I saw somebody with a Mickey Rat
yeah.
t-shirt and I was just kind of like, "Whoa, what I must know that guy." Because who else would be wearing that fucking Mickey Rat t-shirt? And then of course I did wind up knowing him. But that's just kind of like normally, yeah, you wouldn't see that stuff here. Like, it's still like underground comics are still not. I mean, maybe it might be better than it was, I guess, but it's still not regarded in any kind of real positive light.
What can we do to change that, Johnny? Like what
I
what
don't
can
know
we
if we,
do?
but see, there's the conflict is changing it because the great thing about underground comics, or what it used to be great about it, is that it was underground. Nobody
Right.
paid attention to what you were doing. So you could do whatever the fuck you wanted to do. There was no fear of being canceled or any kind of like the same kind of repercussions we feel today about being shamed or anything like that. Like nobody knew what you were doing. So that like having that freedom to do whatever you want and express and explore and experiment, that's the type of environment that produces great work.
Yeah.
The more legitimate your artwork becomes, or the more legitimate your, the type of work then there's more eyes on it. there's more complaints, there's more people like, telling you why what you're doing is bad, and we have to get rid of it and we have to stop it. And so as far as I'm concerned, underground stays underground. Keep it underground. Leave us alone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You heard it here first. Right,
We
okay.
don't need to be legitimized. There needs to be, that's the thing, like the internet legitimizes everything. Like everything has to fall in line with everything. And that is not how it used to be. And that's not how great artwork is
Well,
is
yeah.
manifested.
That's the thing though, like I'm 28, and so I was raised in kind of like the tipping point, like the exact point where the world kind of just crossed over in
Right.
terms of what you can and can't do, what you can and can't say. And it is tricky because I think a lot of people are raised, and I was probably in that generation too, where you're raised to want attention, want likes, want fame, if not for any reason other than just to survive, right? Because
Right.
more eyes means more money, right?
Right.
Sometimes. But it is interesting, like how you're talking about it, like the older kind of approach of just being like, this is underground and we're allowed to have complete freedom.
Right.
And that's a huge trade-off, I think, that a huge price that people are going to have to pay now. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm still, financially unstable, as ever. But
Sure.
I also still I feel the worst of both worlds. I don't get to express myself fully. I self-censor and I have no money. So it's like, it's a complete fuckfest, really,
Yeah, it's the thing too. It's sort of like we're doing all this self-censoring, but then it's sort of like it's not getting us.
for
That's not
what?
getting
It
us anywhere
doesn't help me
either.
get more people. I post stuff that's quite like, it's like emotionally, it's like, I guess psychologically tame, visually tame. It's just like, it doesn't mean the Instagram algorithm is going to give me more likes as a result.
That's sort of the lie that they tell us. It's like, oh, if you follow the
Yeah.
rules, then you'll succeed. But that's not
No,
the
because
case. And I feel
imagine
like
that if,
eventually there's going to be people are going to wise up to the fact that like, look, I'm following the rules. I'm doing what everybody wants me to do, but yet my artwork is stagnant. Nobody likes what I fucking do. And
yeah.
then there's going to be a huge explosion of people just saying like, fuck this shit and fuck this place.
Yeah, well, that eventually will happen. I think it'll happen with Instagram. I think it'll happen with a lot of those kind of vibes, and also AI, which obviously the generative AI becoming like at one point becoming a huge threat, still being a huge threat. But then now, the more I talk to lots of artists and creatives and musicians on this podcast, the more I realize that yeah, it's a huge threat, but we're fucked anyway. And I think at some point the people are gonna something's gonna have to give at some point.
Right.
I don't know when it's
Mhm.
gonna be. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime. I sure hope so, because there's a lot of damage that's being done so far. But at some point, I think people are gonna just like it's too much fast food. You know what I mean? It's just not working right now. We're not getting real content by real people, and we're getting fake content by robots now. So it's just like. And it's also like there's shit that I see slip through Instagram. If we're gonna talk about like nudity and all that stuff, I see there is nudity on Instagram all the time. It's
I mean, I
framed in a
see. Not
weird
only do you
way.
see, not only do you see like women with their underpants like pulled up like between their pussy lips, so like you just see their vaginal lips. You'll see that, and I don't even say like I have a problem with that, but you'll see that, and then you'll also see like you'll watch somebody get like beheaded,
Yeah.
or like horribly mutilated or murdered, and both of those things are seem to be okay. But like I'll post a cartoon of like somebody getting hit in the balls with a shopping carriage, and it's just like, okay,
Game
lose your
over.
account, bye bye, you're out, you don't follow the rules.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck, this place sucks shit. I
Yeah.
wish I didn't have to participate in it anymore, but I
Honestly,
feel
me
like
too.
it's the only outlet to promote. It's the only outlet to get sort of like, my work out there and let people know like, hey, I have selling this, or I got this available, or this is coming out. That's it. Like I wish there was other something else, but that's all I got right now.
Isn't it so wild though that like I've seen CGI or rather AI CGI videos of people's faces melting like
Uh-huh.
off the bone, like people screaming, like I'm seeing all sorts of shit, but AI is allowed to do it.
Right.
but I'm not. You know what
You
I
know,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like they make up the rules as they go.
Yeah.
Instagram, you know, it's just like there's no rhyme or reason to what they do. They just like if they just find a reason or they put a target on your back and then they just gradually start chipping away until you fucking fall into the line, I guess.
Do you find that there's a strong comic scene like in like LA currently where you feel like even though all this shit's going down, that there is a good community of people that you can kind of reach out to,
No.
collaborate with? Really? The fuck,
I mean,
man?
first of all, collaboration, like comics is a very solo experience. You're doing it by yourself. Um, and that's just how it is. Unless like you know you have a writer and you know it's like a writing art team, but I feel like that's fairly rare in underground comics. Underground comics is primarily like you're drawing it, you're writing it, you're
Yeah.
doing the whole thing. um I mean, comics in general are at least you know here I feel like you know they've been hit pretty hard by the whole sort of like woke safe, everything's very nice, everybody's doing work that's nice and encouraging and yeah, it's just it's not for me. um I mean, there are people who are doing comics in the world that I do um like Alex Graham and Sue Kim and some other people, Jesse Moynihan, but um it's I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just not as uh, I'm not out there looking as hard as I should,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of hope.
And that's what we need. That's the one thing we all need.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe
I
not.
don't know, but it's like I said, it's really hard out there now to, you know, especially I feel like for younger people to want to make that effort to make something that is going to be transgressive or upsetting or uh, push buttons, push boundaries, because it's just like the landscape just is completely against you.
Are there any, do you feel like there's any countries worth shouting out that aren't sort of doing that? Or is it everywhere? Is it a global
I
crisis?
think it's a global thing. I mean, um, I like maybe a little bit in France. I feel like they still in Italy. I you know there's some European places I feel like that's still because that's the thing too. Sort of like they revere these older cartoonists, and we you know maybe we even do that here. Like these older cartoonists that like were doing like Manara or Serpieri or guy did the Ran Xerox comics, like you know crazy edgy pornographic
Yeah.
stuff. Like we sort of revere those guys, even Crumb too. But you know, if you do that stuff now, like oh well, that's what they did then when they didn't know better. Like we know better now that that stuff is wrong. But you know, we'll look at that stuff and we can evaluate it from our you know the cloud that we're on now. But um, yeah, it seems to be fairly unacceptable now.
It seems to be quite difficult to do that as well in comics because if you are telling a narrative and you are going to show these particular things, you kind of have to go all out, you know? There's no real half-assing it. In fine art, like one of my favorite artists is Cy Twombly, and he would integrate, I guess, like, you know, penis drawings, basically. I nearly censored myself from saying the word penis just then. Fucking
The
hell.
P word.
So, yeah, it's
Oh,
left brain, right brain
you're gonna be
first.
taken down off of
Yeah, I'm gonna take myself down.
Grinder or whatever the heck.
Yeah, but basically, like you know, like he would do that, and he would juxtapose it with imagery of like I don't know, like statues from ancient Greece and Greek mythology and all
Uh-huh.
that. There was that combination of it, so it's kind of you can look at it now, and it's not going to get taken down because it still had. I mean, if you look at it, it's just scribbles, right? Basically,
Right.
to the average person. But yeah, like with comics, it's like you kind of have to go there. The medium allows you to kind of go from 0 to 100, and that's sort of the freedom that you need to be able to create. Because I've seen that you've talked about like doing jams with yourself, where you kind of go from one place to another,
Yeah, yeah.
and you end up in a different place, like improvising. And I think that if you have to put any sort of a limit on that, you're not going to get nearly, even half the page down, basically.
But I feel like the best bet for artists is probably printing, publishing it yourself,
Yeah.
and getting your, of trying to avoid the internet police and the internet shame machine. And, you know, and that's basically what I feel like that is what like being underground is sort of about. It's like avoiding the majority rule
Yeah.
uh, and exploring your own ideas um, in your own little world.
I have a gut feeling that like people are coming around to that now a bit more. I don't know if
I,
it's me or if it's how I've dealt. I feel, I haven't experienced a lot of camaraderie in a lot of these kind of fields. But I feel like something has to happen at some point.
I feel that too. I don't know
When?
when it's going to happen, if we'll be alive to experience it.
I hope
But
so.
I sure hope that there
I
is,
mean,
because I do get a sense that, like, the generation that's coming after this shitty woke generation, they're going to be like, no, I want to do comics that are depict graphic sex and violence and crazy shit. I want to write stories that have these
it'll probably
elements to
be
them.
even crazier than anything that we can that
Oh,
we
I
can
hope
dream
so.
of because of just the nature of
Because
media and how.
that's just how life seems to work. Like there's this incredible repression, and then all of a sudden, like there's this explosion.
That's the thing as well. Like my entire art career from being, I guess, 20 to being 28 has just been repressed in fucking high school, repressed with COVID and actual police, and now repressed. I mean, when I say police, I mean like we had like we were locked in basically.
Right.
You couldn't leave the house after 8 p.m. There was a curfew. It was a whole thing. But yeah, from that to now being like, oh, you can do whatever you want. But you can't because if you put shit on the only platform that will have you, they'll still take it
Right.
down. Or I feel like taking it down is better than shadow banning it sometimes because at least like you don't know what the fuck's actually happening when
Right.
someone shadow bans your account. You don't understand it. You kind of even make it about yourself. You go, is the quality of my work not hitting? No, Instagram
No, it
doesn't
is.
like you, bro.
Yeah,
Like
the work is hitting. That's why they're making sure nobody
it's hitting
sees it.
too hard. That's why you get no likes. Maybe with that mentality, we can kind of beat this.
Yeah.
Anyway, Johnny, thank you for spending an hour and a bit with me today. An absolute pleasure. Hopefully, with the animated intro that we do, I might even try to get a few of your characters in with you as
Okay.
well. That would be really, really sick. Uh,
All right.
is there anything you want to sort of shout out? I guess maybe rather than shouting out stuff, like any specific places you want to take our viewers to that they can go to other than Instagram?
Well, I have a Patreon too.
Cool.
Um, and I think that might be difficult to find. But if you do go to my Instagram, I have all my links available there, so you can go to my Patreon, you can go to my store, and you can buy my shit. You can go to my uh, various publishers, Fantagraphics or Mansion Press, and buy books from either of those places.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll definitely be getting a t-shirt as soon as
Right?
this is over, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. And I have a bunch of mates who already follow you as well, so they're going to
Awesome.
definitely enjoy seeing this and hearing all about what we've chatted about, which I don't even remember, but
Yeah,
it's
me
been
neither.
exciting and it's been fun. So thank you,
All right.
Johnny Ryan. I
Later.
appreciate you. Thank you
Bye
very
bye.
much.